put it bluntly. Cameron, it's your turn to intro.
You wanted it going. Okay, I'll do it now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of To Put It Bluntly. I am one of your co-hosts, Cameron Keywood, and I am joined as ever by Elon Schill.
Oh, don't you dare! Hi everyone, Wobbles here. I am now officially a formal Elon shill after caving with internet issues and buying a Starlink. I don't want to promote the product, but it's actually working really well, and that hurts me a little bit because it's
And
we have a guest, as many people will be able to see. You haven't heard him yet if you're listening via Spotify, but if you're watching via YouTube, you will see the most beautiful face in accessibility, maybe one behind Francois.
yeah,
We have
Francois pretty up there.
Mr. Chris Leech, also sometimes known
Hello.
as the Temu Steve Saylor.
Yes. Discount, for those on a budget. You know what I mean? It's great to be with you all. I also love the personal kind of poetic symmetry in being episode 12 and being the big copite that I am for being the 12th man, as it were. So, yeah.
Oh,
personally
that's
enjoy that.
poetry, that is. That was accidental poetry, that one.
Yeah. It's been a interesting week for you, Wobbles, with the new internet, and you went back to football for the first time.
Yeah, so all stuff aside, got problems with my legs, and I've started to put some weight on, and I've kind of gone, right, I've got to make two choices here: get fat or have leg pain for a couple of days a week, even more worse, and play football. I've picked the second option because I need to lose some chins, because I got referred to as the wobbly chin again the other day. Yeah.
And you can't grow a beard to hide them.
No,
like
if I could grow the beard to hide it,
Yeah.
absolutely fine. But I can't.
Well, I mean, just get my mental health ban hammer out straight away. Be like, I personally am frustrated by, but like a little bit of physical exercise really does make a huge difference to the old noggin. So it's just beneficial. Good
Yeah,
for
no,
everyone.
I think I texted you, Cameron, straight away. Said every time, like straight after football, I always feel better for doing it.
You feel better. Yeah.
But it is just sometimes getting my lazy arse there.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
more than anything, because it's a 40-minute drive as well, because I live in the middle of nowhere and it's a specific disabled football session and stuff. So it's like, for me to go to football, we play football for an hour, but actually it's like I'm at the house for 4 hours to play football for an hour. By the time it all works out.
I'm gonna derail the episode straight away, and I'm just gonna probe this, Matt, with like. So playing football, I think. Have you all heard of the psychological construct of a flow state? You all heard of this?
No.
No.
So it's applied in a few different contexts, but the kind of general idea is that where like you're so focused on what you're doing that it's like the only thing that kind of exists, right? And like it's been applied a little bit in games. My PhD supervisor, the amazing professor Linda Kay, actually studied this for her PhD thesis, and it refers to this state. But I mention this tangentially because that's what I felt when I used to play football. Like when I was on the pitch, nothing else existed. I was so focused on the game,
that's me.
the position of myself, and that's just so refreshing for like your mind, your body. So I was going to probe like how do you feel when you're on the pitch?
That's what. So especially when I was in hotel management, my 1 hour of football session was a week was when I wasn't worried about work. And that's what I still like about it, because like and Cameron knows, when you one, run your own business, two, are so passionate about what you do as a job, so accessibility for me, it's hard to switch off. You're always on it. So football for me is, like you've said, for that hour of a week, especially anything I care about is what's going on around me and on the football pitch. And it feels like you've emptied your mind almost for an hour.
Yep. That is sort of what is sort of referred to, and it's not like I'm gonna say like a hard sort of structure, right? I'm being very loose and throwing new info at you and all the listeners straight away because you've got a nerdy boy on the show, so that's what we're gonna do. Tell me you're an academic without telling me you're an academic. Am I right? But like no, like it's that feeling that you get, like like that feeling of just like nothing else exists inside this moment. So you're sort of operating on instinct,
Yeah, it's nice. It's a break for an hour a week from everything other than running and putting football on my mind, which is always good. So you've said you're an academic, Chris,
Yes.
and you clearly have some interest in psychology, just a little bit, but
Smidge.
just a small touch. Let's tell us about yourself. Tell the listener about yourself. Tell us about Chris Leech.
Let's give you the full
full
intro. So yes, hello. My name is Christopher Leech, Chris Leech, if you prefer. I am a PhD researcher in psychology, researching video games and student mental health, looking at the specific application of games that pertain to mental health challenges. So what happens when we play a game like Depression Quest or Please Knock on My Door is what I've spent the sort of the past 4 years researching. Alongside this, I'm a person with albinism, so I've got a big white mop at the moment, big white beard. Discount Steve Saylor, who you're probably more familiar with, as we've touched on. It really sort of disconcerts American people when I'm over in the US because like they see an albino with a funny accent and it's the same thing for them. Met Steve, lovely fella. We've got a photo together. We prove we're different people. So I also do a whole host of content, streaming, podcasting. Streaming's currently on a break because of the whole PhD thing. I also am an Excel nerd, so I've worked with data previously. A author. I've written some book chapters in things like this, The Psychology of the Witcher, edited by Dr. Rachel Coe, PhD, close personal friend of mine. Things like this. Presenter, hosted Nothing Without Us in summer 2024, July, as we were. That was great. And what else did I do? Yeah, accessibility consultancy as well, because of course, if you're not monetizing literally everything you do, what are you doing in this economy, right? So having the intersectionality of all that is having always been obviously disabled, but also enjoyed playing video games as an escape and as a hobby. That and through some of my sort of personal life experiences kind of culminated in me going like, what can we do to kind of improve this situation? And naturally through doing, my undergrad and masters in psychology, forensic psych, criminal justice and health respectively, I really kind of went, how do we do this? And I think, I don't know what it was like for y'all. I don't want us to exactly age ourselves, right? But when I was in like college in the UK, 16 to 18 education, I was doing media, and I remember kind of being explicitly told, like, don't bother getting into games because like everyone who's got a job in games is going to have them for decades, right? And this was like just before the indie game movement happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of always wanted to work in games somehow, but was really put off that as like an actual career choice. And I found that like tangentially, like psychology, famous for its violence and video game kind of research and all this sort of things, was a great way of looking at that and being able to, change narratives and I'm going to tentatively say be that slightly politically motivated scouser. No shot, no surprise to anyone. I've been talking for several minutes on non-stop now, so I'll open up the floor for questions.
Oh no, that's what we want you to do. We like it when you talk. It's good. It's very good. In regards to that, no, I never even dreamt of a video games career. I'm probably how old are you, Chris? I always forget.
I'm the wrong side of 25. We'll say that.
Right? Okay, so yeah, when I was at school, there was only one person out of everyone I went to school with worked in video games or did a degree in video games, and our teachers were like, "You could be a genius." He was really, really smart lad, and at that point, it was like, "Why are you doing video games? You could be doing so much more with your life." So yeah, I never ever dreamed of working in video games. Even all I've ever done.
And he grew up to be Mr. Ubisoft.
All right. I didn't ever dreamt of ending up in working in video games. I did hospitality.
Yeah, I didn't think it was realistic. Like, I did a college level 3, and then I did my undergrad and my masters. So yeah, but I didn't I took a gap year that turned into 2, and then I went to uni during COVID, which was fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to go to university to develop games. I think it's a choice, obviously, but like there's so many people out there that have done it, on themselves and picked up that way. So
it's an interesting one, and I think, obviously I'm a capital A academic, right? So I think I'm not going to defend like higher education, right? I'm not going to pretend like it hasn't got problems, but I do think from a creative standpoint, and we've seen this through like governmental policy. I know I'm getting straight onto the Tories, look at me. But like the way creative degrees are handled is not the best, and therefore they maybe don't provide people the opportunities that they could. That's like just and that's at a governmental level, right? They're not treated with the respect that they deserve. And I think like what I would say I value about the kind of academic journey, at least from my side, is I've gained a lot of skills that I think are really valuable. Like it's like I was that kid that was like really excited to do presentations because I was like easy first, let's go. And like that's a skill thing, right? Like you can get good. I said the phrase, get good at anything with enough practice. You might have a natural talent, but everything is basically something you can put skill points in.
Yeah.
And I think where we get with the more creative subjects, and I did media in college as it happened. I think the way in which you are allowed to contextualize those skills is maybe where there's a bit of a gap. Because I know, like on an individual level, I know so many amazing tutors and lecturers that are really passionate and really care. They're kind of almost limited by the broader infrastructure,
Yeah. I think the main issue with my like university was like none of the lecturers had like industry experience. They were all like academics, which can be useful, but I think another thing is they seem to like. So do you know Mike Bithell?
Not personally.
No.
But you do know of him, yeah? So
I think I've heard the name.
yeah, so he did Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah.
So he went to the uni where I went, but before he merged with another one. But they talked to you like, oh, he'd been here, but it was like 15 years, like 16 years ago. And like in my class, 2 people are in AAA development now. I think one's at UB and the other's in Lincoln Rockstar. So, and everybody else, well, either started in indie or, don't know, just existing. So, yeah, it can depend. Like, I know a lot of colleges in London, like unis in London, have like actual lecturers who have worked in the industry, which gives them a leg up, really, I think.
So I've
I haven't-
worked with Lincoln Uni and their games design, one of their games design, actually all 3 of their games design lecturers I know of have industry based experience. One of them's like proper started at Rebellion when Rebellion formed doing games. So he's like proper old school video games development. And
I haven't like looked at the data in a while, but I think like generally speaking, it's very common for people that do courses and complete an undergraduate degree to then actually do something different. I know like on my course, I think only a handful of people actually then continued in psychology or criminal justice. I think one person pivoted to law. I think that's because a lot of people do go for, this is a cliche, but like I think many people are sort of unduly pressured to go to university, and like one of the main takeaways they get is the life
%.
experience, right? I personally would advocate that people are given maybe a bit more room to breathe and think about what they want to go and do. I say this as someone that went like undergrad, masters, 3 years in industry, then back for a PhD, right? But like, yeah, I think when you actually look at the data, it is interesting to see how many people directly follow like a career path that is one-to-one with what they studied.
I know people that it's not just the careers they're in, but someone I know's he went to PT back in Wobbles University. He's got a degree in like aerospace engineering, and he's like working for some company as a maintenance manager or maintenance CEO or some stupidly high position. And he's got a degree, and he's like, "Yeah, I did the degree because it looks good on my CV." He's like, "I don't really ever think I'm ever going to work on a rocket ship that goes into space, but actually, people look at my CV and go, oh my god, he's got a degree in this. He's going to be really good at something." Yeah.
Yeah.
Transferable skills.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He was like, it just looks good on his CV. He's like, I know realistically, I'm not going to get a job at NASA because 1,000 people a year do this degree, and there's 2 jobs a year.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I'm just going to use it to look good and then get jobs elsewhere and still make money. He's like, it's done the job. I've got a job because of it.
Yeah.
And that's
if only the games industry was the same.
Well, again, I mean, we're saying this in a awkwardly and awfully tumultuous time for the industry.
Yeah.
It'd be different if it was like booming, right? You
Yeah.
know, so I think that is reflective of the broader, I'm going to say it, evils of capitalism. I know, right? You get the Scouser on and
Can we
suddenly
get the Scouse bingo card out? We just need him to say. We
got another scout. We got
all
another
we're
scout
missing.
next week.
All we're missing now is I'm not English. That's the next line, and we're done. And we've ticked it. The box is ticked.
That and something vaguely anti-royalist. And then
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, them
card,
two, and we're
right?
done.
The trifecta.
I'll be shouting bingo then.
Yeah.
Oh, so why psychology? Because it's like you've said. I know so many people that did it at A level, went to university and studied it, and they don't do anything to do with psychology. But you love it. Like
I'm so glad you asked this question, because it's such a daft answer.
Because we spent an hour and a bit on a train the other day, and just chatting away. It's the first time I'd ever spent like more than like 20 minutes with you in a pub or something, and it was just me and you chatting. And you are so passionate about it. Like we were chatting, and you were like, "Oh my god, if you're struggling with this, read this book," or "If you've read this book, this is great," and things like that. And it's refreshing to see someone that's so passionate about what they're doing, like constantly. You don't ever dip in and out of the passion. You're always like, "I love it. It's really good." Why psychology?
So it's really, really funny you ask, and I love telling this story. So as I mentioned, I was studying media in college. When I was like 16, I had aspirations of being a film director. So I went to college, did media. It was a really, really unique qualification that no longer exists because it was too complicated to convert into UCAS. So they actually dropped it like the year after I finished it. And that was like, I did an extended project where I filmed like a small sketch show, right? And I did like creative design on like Flash, right? And like I did a DVD menu in Director, right? All these really fun things. And I remember our tutor sat us all down and was like, right, folks, the UCAS deadline is in a couple of weeks. We need to start working on your applications. And I had what I believe I can officially call my first existential crisis, and went, oh God, I don't think I can do film. Like, I think one of the things that kind of frustrated me was that like you can be like legitimately not skilled in a particular role, but if you are friends with like a producer,
Yeah.
they will make sure you're on the cast, right? And I know nepotism exists in all industries, but usually like you have to be good enough to do a job, right? Whereas this, you could actively be not good. And that frustrated me because, as Wobbles kind of alluded to there, I am a what you know person, right? Like I'm a nerdy boy with lots of facts and knowledge swimming around in this old noggin. So I went home and I had a 3-hour conversation with my mother, Resta, like absolute legend. She listened to me prattle on, going, Mum, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I've got to fill this UCAS application out. What do I do? And I sat and we basically chatted about what I have an interest in. Now, direct quote from my mother. I must have been one of the only teenagers that read Freud for pleasure, because I was reading like the key ideas of Freud, which then led me to the key ideas of Jung, because I'd always been interested in why people do things, right? I didn't know at the time that is what we call psychology, right? The study of people, sociology, if you're looking at broader groups, right? But I was always fascinated by it. And I also had been raised on a diet of like Frasier, In Treatment, House, right? These TV shows with these strong like psychological links, right? And I also had a loose interest in law, but not like statutes, books, and stuff like that, right? Very, very influenced by Ace Attorney Apollo Justice, for example.
Yeah.
The idea of
Love
criminal
Williams.
justice, like how
Yeah,
do we
yeah.
treat criminals and stuff. So I go away, do Google, as you do. And no jokes, no word of a lie, the first course I found was Forensic Psychology and Criminal Justice, Liverpool John Moores University, 320 UCAS points, which was a big cap in old money. And I said, that's the course. So it was my first choice. I put in a whole bunch of others and I got on that course and I did it. So I just said to myself, like, what can I actually see myself doing for 3 years? Like, like what do I want to do? And it feels weird to be talking about it now, because at that point, again, as I kind of referenced, I was not looking at it as like this will be my future career, right? It was just uni was a next step that was very much pressed upon me, right? And I fell in love with it as a subject, just really thinking about why we do things. The best sessions that I had were ones where I would leave a lecture and would spend hours reading about it. And that wasn't the case for all of them. I really don't get along well with like biological psychology, right? With all like neurons and stuff, like not my bag. But when it got down to like the social stuff, like I remember your personality design, and we had this amazing lecture on like, the science of love, right? Just all the stuff that genuinely like, podcasts before podcasts,
Yeah.
My favorite joke was I had a forensic psychology module, naturally, in my third year. And for an exam, I had to provide a criminal profile for the Yorkshire Ripper. It was an exam. I had to do this to pass. True crime podcasts before they were a thing. I was doing that for work, you know what I'm saying? Whilst I was on that course, I did a module on health psychology. They were like, we offer a master's. And you're about to be like, Chris, what like Dragon Balls have you got? Because this was the year when they were going to introduce master's funding the next year. So to encourage people to do it, they offered scholarships. I applied. I got one. A disabled guy from a low socioeconomic background getting a scholarship? No shot. That's not good for the optics. So I was lucky enough to have my tuition fees paid for my master's, and I got a stipend, which really helped me with that. And then from there, I went to work in public health research for a year, did 3 years in outreach, just before the Panini happened, and then started the PhD. So when we talk about psychology, it's about that broader application of understanding. And for me, I know it's cheesy AF, but it's just like, how can we use this knowledge and information to help people and make change? My undergrad dissertation was on video games and deviancy. And one of the really fun, I did like a regression analysis for any nerds out there, but one of the kind of correlations of like things that were less likely to lead to deviancy, right? Doing things you wouldn't do in the real world, but you do in games, destroying shit. There was a negative correlation for people that played strategy games. And this was scientifically awful, but that idea really, really stuck in my brain. I did my master's dissertation on discriminations. So I was comparing why people can cognizantly know. This was a decade ago or so now, so bear with me. But like racism, obviously wrong. We don't do that. Ableism, that's fine though, despite both being illegal in UK law, right? Still are. Then I sort of experienced some personal things with like the passing of my father, and I experienced some mental health challenges through that. And it was during my sort of like working in the Public Health Institute, I met some amazing people, Dr. Conan Levi, who was like talking through him and a few other colleagues. I was like, oh, like what about games and mental health though? Like, I play games like Celeste and Depression Quest, and I was like, oh, like these really tell a very poignant but really candid idea about what mental health is like. Can these games have any sort of utility? Right. I was thinking back to that initial undergraduate thing of like, could these be good for us? And obviously, like, a few years doing outreach, which I really care about, helping people think about their options with higher education, and basically spending 3 years in an Excel sheet, some of the best times of my life. Shaping Futures, shout out. One of the best managers I've ever had, Yvonne McCreath, would have followed that woman into battle if she'd have asked, going on the record. Still love her, great woman. And yeah, just really thinking about like how, again, I talk about transferable skills, this ability to crunch data, to, as I hope is coming across through my ramble and mince chatting, like transferring really complex and dense information into something that people find interesting, which is where my sort of presentation and sort of panel hosting has all come off. And why psychology? I think it's in the genes. That's something I care about, and I think something that has a really tangible application to reaching people, and that's why I love crap like Not On Without Us or PAX or these type of things where I can take myself and gather much more intelligent and much more incredible experts and help them get information to the people that want it and need it.
Yeah, I think that's something that I find really, really good and rewarding, like you've said, is when you know you're talking to someone that can make a bigger difference, then like you can give them the mindset and the knowledge to then go to 100 other people and go, right, I listened to the Wobbly Gamer, I listened to Chris, I listened to Cameron the other day, and they were talking about accessibility in video games. Let's fucking make a difference. Mm-hmm. And I love that feeling of sitting in a room with someone that you know is like stupidly hard at a games company, and you make them twitch, you make them like the switch flick, the light bulb comes on, and you kind of go, yeah, I did that. and then I go home and
So
play
I have
Call of
a
Duty.
psychology question,
Sure.
just quickly. While so as Wobbles knows, I do like to collect trophies on PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
and I have been hounding him to message people about it. But anyway, enough said that. So why do people want to collect then like trophies, achievements? Is it like positive reinforcement or?
So it's a really, really interesting area. It is an area of research. I'm not super familiar with it. I would direct you to. Can I promote another podcast? On
Of course
this?
you can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, gotcha. We're not
Yeah.
like that at all.
I didn't check, but check out the Psychology of Games hosted by Dr. Jamie Madigan. He has like an episode or two on this. But generally, the principle is that people enjoy recognition of their achievement, right? Like back in the day when we didn't have trophies, you'd maybe take a photo on your 2 megapixel smartphone to tell your friend
Yeah.
about, right? But I just think generally the way trophies should be designed, and not often, is have you thought about playing the game in this way that's a bit different? Challenge yourself, try this different thing. We've all seen terrible trophies. We all know that they are awful.
Yeah.
Right? But generally it's meant to be like, oh, have you thought about getting more value out of your game, our game, by playing it this way? Here is something to show that you've achieved this recognition.
So
And generally, like, have people ever not enjoyed being told that they've done something good? Like, no king shaming, you know what I mean? But like, receiving praise is nice.
Yeah.
So do you mean by playing it differently, like Call of Duty goes, right, on this mission, do it without shooting someone?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a good trophy design is like to challenge your expectations of the game, right? Like I'm currently wearing a Metal Gear Solid hoodie, right? And it's like, okay, we'll do it without getting seen once.
Yeah.
That's a challenge of your skill, but also a way of playing the game that you might not have thought of prior.
Yeah. So like, I've been having trouble with a certain game that Wobbles is associated with, and it's getting on my
It's like he's got, I don't know, it's almost like he won't sleep for 2 weeks until he's completed it. He's getting
not that bad, but yeah. So I've sent him a trophy list that I designed to pass on. So, because like you said, you want to try different things. Like I love them sort of ones where it's like play the game without doing this, play the game while doing this. Like ones that challenge you, and then you feel a real sense of reward.
A bad trophy is like one. I'm going to pick on, say, Final Fantasy IX. It's like do 100,000 encounters or 10,000 encounters or something.
Yeah,
that's just attrition. That's not fun. Everyone's already level 99. There's no value in it. It's just
Was
okay.
it Left 4 Dead had one that was kill like 7,000? There was a number.
Dead Rising used to add one. It was like 47,000.
Killed 47,000 zombies. It's like what?
FIFA is like 200 games of Ultimate Team.
Who in their right mind sits there and kills 47,000 zombies for a ping on an achievement score? Sorry, Cameron, to out you there a little bit.
Well, I also think it's daft when they're kind of relying on like online services that like eventually get shut down. So it's like, right, get this trophy, but do it like within the 18 months you've got while the server's alive. Otherwise, you can never do it, and you'll never get that plat.
I got so many. It's like 90% of the things is like online ones when I didn't really bother with online.
So I'll balance this as well, Cameron, because I'm very much the antithesis of that, where like I don't care about trophies. I want to have fun with the game, reach a point where I'm satisfied, which is usually credits, and then call it good. Because too many games, not enough time. Am I right?
Yeah.
With the exception of I think the 7 platinums I've got, I was a man possessed getting that Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth platinum. 200 hours of my life that I don't want a refund on. They can keep it, but I got that platinum and I was very, very happy about it.
Yeah,
I love that. I did that with there was a game. What was the game where you had this? You were a police. I forgot the name of it. That's going to bug me. You were a policeman in like a modern city, but you had the ability to jump, climb the buildings. That's going to bug me.
Eleanor?
No, you had like superpowers. You punched really hard.
Prototype.
No. Oh, that's going to bug me. I can't think of the game. And I never once.
This isn't the Guess This Mess section, by the way.
I know. They did a number 2 a few years ago and it was terrible.
Most number 2s are.
Great phrasing.
Okay, I'll have it later on. I'll have to go through my achievement list and tell you both separately.
What was it on Xbox?
Xbox, yeah. I was a man possessed, absolute man possessed, but never been like that for a game before. I was like, I need to get this game completed. Yeah. What's that game? Hold on, let me load my Xbox up. It's right next to me.
We have to find out.
While I find this game, what's the next I don't want to release your news on the pod or anything, but yeah.
So I mean, so okay, yeah, no, it's fair. I think so. I'm gonna call this like a soft hard launch. Like things are listen, if things go sour, you'll edit this out, right? Like
Yeah, we'll edit out straight away. Don't yeah.
But like I have recently been offered and accepted a role as a full-time psychology lecturer at University of Brighton. So going to be making a big move from Liverpool down to Brighton, just replicating the legendary James Milner. So
what was it? What was it? Hold on. Have we got the
putting the albino in Albion?
That's the one.
Like, so really excited to be doing something that I think, if I was going to be vulnerable with yourselves and the audience, it's like this is probably the first time I think in my life where I'm making a decision just for me, that I've not had to factor anyone else in. Everyone else has been really wonderfully supportive and encouraging, and like I'm doing this because I think it makes sense for me and it's something I want to try and I want to do. And it's really nice, and I'm excited about it. Won't be starting until the new year, so obviously like a little bit after this goes out, which is why if you've seen any of my shit before, my shelves look much more sparse and a bit more disparate than previous.
Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't live like that normally. This isn't. No.
Yeah. This is me packing. So yeah, it's a thing. I've literally just got like 1 or 2 more bits of paperwork to do. It still doesn't quite feel real. It was really funny because I had accepted it a day before I was actually seeing Wobbles in Brighton. And he was like, "Oh, Chris, you coming down to develop next year?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll see about that, mate. You know, maybe it could happen.
Yeah.
I might be there. You know."
No,
so no, it's a big, exciting thing. I'm very excited about.
I know you said you're like not necessarily scared, but nervous. But I think you'll smash it. You're also.
Oh no, so I can fully admit I am scared. It's a big change. I think the fear is natural, right? But the fear gives way to excitement.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's massive change. Liverpool to Brighton. That's.
And also, let's be real, fellas. Like in this economy, permanent full time, you couldn't say no to.
Yeah, that's true.
That's exactly what I said as well. Yeah,
like real source. Like,
I can't find this game. It definitely exists.
It doesn't exist.
Describe it better.
I can't describe it better.
So you're a policeman.
You like a policeman in like a futuristic city. You can jump and climb the buildings. No, yeah, Crackdown. Thank you.
Jesus Christ! I didn't know a policeman in there. I thought they were secret agents.
You know, you're a policeman, aren't you? Beating up bad guys.
I don't know. It's Xbox exclusive.
Yeah,
and I'm.
I was a fiend for that game. God knows. Yeah, number 3 was terrible. Can we add?
Fiend. Love it.
Absolutely terrible. So devastating that game was that bad. God, we've got well sidetracked there, but
I have that effect on people. Don't worry.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
That's a very
Rip Wobbles having to edit all this down.
No, it's fine.
Editing.
I will keep most of it in.
Just on the sections where I'm just like rambling, just put that like 1.5 speed. That'll be fine.
Twitch it ever so slightly, and just 1.25, so it's not massively noticeable. But yeah, no, we like.
Because they'll go, "Oh, he's Scouse, of course. He's speaking fast. It's fine."
It's the whole point of this, right? Is what we said. Is we wanted to kind of give people this platform to tell their story inside the accessibility space, the gaming space. Not even necessarily that, just people we like and have time for. And
yeah.
Well, thank you.
So
I feel like actually a thing I forgot, and I think let's recenter on that actually, because I was talking a lot about all the academic stuff, and obviously for me the intersection of my research in games is like, you know, I'm shaking my own hand, right? Like it's 1-to-1, and I think one of the big things that I have learned from some of the best in the business, Dr. Rachel Cohut, Dr. Kelly Dunlap, Dr. Sarah Hayes, is bringing that intersectionality together to help benefit both. So both improve academia, but also the games industry. And I've always been disabled, right? I've always been a person with albinism. So I've always played games from that disabled perspective. And it was through being involved with charities like Take This and Safe in Our World that obviously focus on mental health. So really entrenched in what I do, also helping me broaden my own horizons to accessibility, being like, no, Chris, like you have the science, but also the ability to articulate the challenges you face. That's actually really valuable to the industry.
Yeah.
So through that, I joined Limit Break for a year as a mentee with the incredible Bryn Richards. Absolutely wonderful human. Bryn, if you're watching, love you. Big fan. They're incredible. Absolutely wonderful mentor. And yeah, that was incredibly rewarding and showed me that like I do have value in the industry. I have something to offer that I think is worthwhile. And then I've been with Limit Break again, joining the accessibility committee in the calendar year 2024. And that's just really been a platform to get involved. That led me to getting involved with Many Cats and their impact program, being part of the inaugural cohort, being that man in the suits. Just kind of one of the things I'm known for. You got to stand out, right? Like I'm not at all
Yeah, yeah.
memorable, so like it's really important to wear funky colored suits.
I can't believe you didn't wear one today. A bit disappointed actually.
I've got like work and stuff, haven't I? Keeping it casual.
Yeah.
You could have
Like,
worn it to work. Imagine walking into the library and
they
seeing you.
listen.
Just
They
got gingerbread men on it.
they've got to work up to that, all right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
On
They gotta earn
your
it.
last
They gotta earn
shift
it.
in the library, can you please wear the suit?
do you know what? Okay, I had not thought of that, but you know what? For you, Wobbles, I will. For you, I'll do it.
If you do,
You
that-
heard it here first.
Yeah.
Hold me to account. I'll send you a photo of me doing it.
Oh, that'd be quality.
But yeah, so like just to really like bring us back around, like I had been tangentially involved and I've slowly become more involved. And as I say, like through Impact, Many Cats, Limit Break specifically. Again, I've been really blessed to have a support network and know just amazing people. And for some reason, they kind of keep me around and invite me on the podcasts. And I'm eternally grateful for that. You know what I mean? It's almost less about what you're able to do and more about like the people that you do it with. That's honestly more valuable. It's the people that make it worthwhile, because you can be great at something, but if you don't communicate that and you don't share it with anyone, there just seems less value in that for me.
I cannot agree more with that statement at all.
Yeah.
The people I've met inside the accessibility space and the gaming space specifically are some of the best people I've met, without a doubt. It's people like yourselves that make the difference, because we can't do it on our own, but we are trying to do it on our own, if that makes sense, because a lot of us are self-employed, a lot of us are on our own and spend 90% of a week sat in front of a screen on our own. And when you've got people like yourselves and others in the community, they make it a bit easier, because you go, right, I'm going to see so-and-so in 2 months' time in an event. That's going to be great. We'll have a drink, we'll have a catch-up. And yeah, it's just good people.
And again, I think you referenced this before, but like again, I've been so lucky, and you're really wonderful people have helped give me a platform. I remember going to like my first PAX East, and like again, like eminent video game research psychologists like Dr. Rachel Coet, Dr. Kelly Dunlap, Dr. Sarah Hayes were like there. They were making friends with me. They were cheering me on. They were being supportive, and I've had the pleasure of like hosting panels with people who are just absolutely incredible. Like, it's not my job to be clever or like to answer questions. It's to ask them. But I just love hearing other people who are really passionate and really, really brilliant speak. And I think it's when someone has offered you the ladder, you need to keep pushing it down for others as well.
Yeah.
That's so always try and uplift, and that's something I always try to do. It's hard, especially when like I am presently kind of in a sinkhole of trying to just do what I need to do to get things ticked off the list. But it's so important. Like even when Wobbles, like I know we were at a consultancy gig recently together. It's been publicized online, but we were there, and they could have easily gone, well, we don't need 2 VI guys. What do you mean? But we both provided really different advice. It was still valuable to them, despite us having the same labeled condition in finger quotes.
Yeah, no, it's important to get everyone's perspective inside them events, which is, and it's been publicised. So when we went to Studio Gobo, it was they picked 4 consultants, myself, Chris, Harry, and
Chris Goodyear.
Chris, I always said this, I always call him Craig, and I don't know why I call him Craig, but yeah, Chris. And all 4 of us come with very different perspectives, and I think that's how you do it really well. And it's like you've said, Chris, you talk about not just being visually impaired, but you bring a whole other plethora of expertise to, and something like that. It's just amazing to hear you speak about, because you talk about grief playing video games, and I think it brings mind the pun, it opened my eyes on opened my eyes on how video games can be used in different ways, like massively. Like I've always been someone that when they're struggling in life buries their head inside video games. I'm not gonna lie. I'm quite open about my mental health being up and down a lot of the time and having bad patches with it. And something that's always been there for me is my Xbox controller or my PlayStation or a Switch. And it's probably not mentally healthy in some respects to jump yourself into it and just go, right, I'm going to just play video games for 4 hours because I'm feeling like crap today.
Yeah, I think it depends what game you play. If you play GTA and just go around killing prostitutes, we have an issue. But if you're just playing FIFA, then
Yeah.
it's football.
Allow me to bring sort of my scientific banhammer, if you will, because I'm gonna
Yep.
bonk you a little bit there, Wobbles, and say no. I think if that is for you what healthy emotional regulation looks like, then that works. If you have a strategy that works, that's good. You should do that. Now, I do think there are lines, and they like to throw around gaming addiction in finger quotes. All the science is cracked. It's rubbish. Don't buy it. Professional opinion. You know, we are cyclical. We are people that go through these cyclical moments, and ultimately, all we can do is try and access support via networks or professionals, or most often ourselves, to help regulate that. And if that's what works for you, and you're not at a point where the act of doing that is negatively impacting other areas of your life, you're not saying, right, I'm going to play 20 hours of FIFA and disregard my other responsibilities. It's not problematic. Fact. Ultimately, because if you're not playing FIFA for 4 hours, what else are you gonna do? It's better for you to go to the pub and just drink for 4 hours
Or sleep.
Yeah, that's healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, so I think, and then Cameron, I know you touched on like specific content. Like, obviously, that instance is a little bit graphic,
Yeah.
necessarily, but like sometimes I want to boot up like a good FPS and just blow things to smithereens, because that is a better outlet than me either letting that sort of fester and eat me away emotionally inside, or letting that bottle up and potentially going out verbally, or potentially even at worst case physically, towards someone else. So it's much more better for emotional regulation to be able to do that. And that's again for me the utility of games that is often underlooked. Have you all heard of the hot sauce fallacy?
No.
Drop some fun facts.
No.
So I won't mention the actual paper. No shade. But there was a 2011 video game violence paper that you were brought into the lab and asked to play either a violent game or a non-violent game, and then you were asked to pour hot sauce on some food. The amount of hot sauce denoted how aggressive you were, therefore how aggressive the game made you. This is a genuine scientific method that
God.
people
Yep.
bought, sold, replicated, thought this is cracked, this is the way it is. Obviously, as we'll all know from FIFA, my favorite joke on this is FIFA or EA Sport, EAFC, Pokemon, what are the other ones? Splatoon and GTA all have shooting in them at some point, right? They all have attacks that say shooting or whatever, right? They all have, all these type of things. Only one of them makes me want to commit crime, and that's EAFC.
The only game I've ever broken a controller over.
Yeah.
Not Call of Duty, not any Gears of War. It's FIFA.
It's frustration. That was never a foul. This person's cheating.
Yeah.
That's BS.
Yeah.
So frustration is often conflated with aggression measurement. Also, I like spicy food, so I'd naturally just put like a decent amount of hot sauce on food.
I could come off playing blooming Minecraft with my little boy and go and nail half a bottle of hot sauce on a pizza. It's not like it's.
So therefore, Minecraft has made you aggressive, and also your son. So you need to think about that, Wobbles.
Probably the second one probably made me a bit aggressive on Minecraft, because have you played Minecraft with an 8-year-old?
No, I don't want to.
Don't.
I'm fine.
Just because he's better than you,
No, it's because when you're built right, I've got OCD in Minecraft. If you're building something, all the sides have to be the same size and everything has to look good. And he comes in, just starts plonking stuff down. It's just frustrating, all right? That's why we stick to Fortnite. It leads to less arguments.
Hot sauce fallacy, like that was considered a genuine method.
Right, I think we have touched on many different aspects there, and definitely got to know Chris a lot better in the last 45 minutes. So we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we will be back and discussing this week's hottest gaming news in patch notes.
Hot to go.
Welcome back, everybody. We are still here with the wonderful Chris Leech. we are about to dive into this week's gaming news and all things gaming related with patch notes. It's been a bit of a quieter week. There's a couple of bits we're going to talk about. It's Call of Duty release week, which means everything tends to go a little bit quiet because all you're ever going to see everywhere is Call of Duty news.
Yep.
It's the same every year, and I'm not going to lie, I will be playing it. Thank you to Ubisoft. Oh, see, I am such a shill. I don't know what companies are sending me what these days. It's horrendous, isn't it? Oh,
Wobbles. I aspire to achieve those levels. That is goals right there. Getting your own shilling confused. That's
Thanks
peak.
to EA as well for the Assassin's Creed code they sent.
oh God! Thank you to Activision and Treyarch for sending me a copy of the game this year. Which we will be streaming live regularly, and you all know where to find me by now. So my news this week is actually about Call of Duty, and I'm now going to call them out after saying thank you for the game code. It's great, isn't it? At least if I shill, I'm also an honest shill, and we'll throw them under a bus because this is a big bus.
Genuine critique is worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm just going to read the headline of this from Microsoft News. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 features paid audio profiles. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will feature a paid audio setting that is customized to the individual's physiology.
With 3 red flags, because that's not possible.
Yeah. Enhanced headphone mode increases the directional accuracy of sounds in Black Ops 6. 4 red flags. And to top it off, it's 20 quid.
So I'm going to disagree with the last one. I think like directional audio through headphones, like I own a sound card. That's a thing that they can do.
Yeah.
Why are they charging 20 quid for it though? That's the 4th red flag. What is that?
It's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
unique physiology. Like what?
What is it going to do? How can it read your headphones to be?
Is it going to plug into your brain?
Yeah.
Neuralink.
The worst part is, kids are going to buy it.
So, okay, we know from, say, for example, Fortnite's accessibility settings, right? Directional audio, but also waveform visual representation of audio is genuinely beneficial.
That's
right?
brilliant.
Some people can call that competitive edging or whatever, right? Whatever. I disagree. I think it's just helpful and everyone has access to it. So if you want to get good, use it. This is the same thing, right? Like if you want directional audio, great, use that. You're enhancing your experience. Why they're charging £20 for it is beyond me.
Yeah. I hear they're broke. You know, they haven't just had a massive deal go through.
It's one, it's accessibility behind a paywall for me.
Yeah.
Which is a huge no and a massive red flag. Because if you're visually impaired, you need to be able to bloody hear the footsteps and what direction they're coming from clearly. Mm-hmm. If you're harder hearing, you need to be able to hear all the footsteps clearer than anything else. It's just I could sit here for 20 minutes and go on a rant about why it's putting accessibility behind a paywall to start with. But what's going to annoy me more is by the end of next week, you're going to have streamers that have been gifted this by Activision claiming it's the best thing that's ever happened to Call of Duty. They wouldn't have won 400 games on Warzone or multiplayer by the end of next week without this audio setting. I can see what's going to happen straight off the bat. And within 2 weeks, everyone will be buying it because some online Call of Duty professionals said they need to buy it.
Yeah. This is provocative, right? And obviously you're the one who's been gifted the game. But do you think they're charging people for it because like they didn't have chance to include it in the initial release, so they've just gone stick a fee on it? Like it wasn't ready, like it had to be done later, and they're just charging for it.
With my industry knowledge, yes, that feels like to me it was a
last minute.
We can get it in, but we can't get it in 2 weeks ago when the journalists got their copies, or 4 weeks ago when the journalists got their copies, or when they did events with content creators. And they've gone, right, we've got it live now. Some bloke at the audio team's gone, actually, do you know what, I've done it, it works now. And they weren't expecting it to work this quickly. And someone in an office chair that's never made a game in his life, that's never played a game in his life, has gone, put 20 quid on it, someone will buy it. That screams that to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that screams out to both of you, but it
Yeah,
very much
100%.
feels like someone's gone, crap, I've got this finished and completed 8 weeks quicker than I thought I would. We fixed the problem or something that was there. It's now ready to go. We can get it in on launch day. And then someone in a chair in a suit's gone, let's put 20 quid on it and make some more money, guys.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Like, as a feature, I think it's great. I think the way it's being handled and pushed out is less.
Oh, the feature's brilliant. I'm not going to...
Yeah,
Yeah, the feature's amazing. Can list you the positives again for accessibility for the features. Not just as an accessibility thing, but as just a gaming thing. Directional audio should be just in games anyway. Every other game uses it. And then Call of Duty has it. Call of Duty has got it. It's obviously enhanced. They've made it... Last year, I don't know if you used to play a lot of Call of Duty.
No.
Audio on the last one was the worst audio I've ever had in a Call of Duty game. You couldn't differentiate any of the sounds, and it was a big problem. And it was a problem that was spoken about a lot on social media. So I reckon they've also seen that and gone, people knew it was a bug, was an issue last year, and it affected gameplay. People are paying an extra 20 quid to make it work properly.
Yeah.
And I said, Cameron sent me it and said, have you seen this? I was like, yes, but I don't know if it's real. And now it's been confirmed. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a bit angry about it. And
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
I'm both,
Yeah.
because it's just another, like, Xbox bought Call of Duty, and I know it's never been a PlayStation studio, right? But they've always had strong affiliations with PlayStation. So I was so excited because I was like, right, Xbox got their hands on Activision. They're going to add some accessibility settings. They're going to, because they do. Xbox gets a studio and they go, right, you've got to have these accessibility settings before we launch it. You've got to show us you're making progress in accessibility, which is why I fucking love Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've gone, right, here's a great feature. Let's put 20 quid on it.
It does feel really inverse, and I do worry that we will see like this. Listen, chat, this has given me the competitive edge. You should buy it, and people will just go, yes. Please,
especially, is there Call of Duty creator codes?
Probably. I mean, why wouldn't there be, right?
Yeah, if there is, you can see it straight off the bat, can't you? Buy the audio settings, get a difference, and then at the end of the video, it'll be use code Toxic Gamer to get. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You can. It's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Sure.
And it's just infuriating because I thought we'd left all this stuff behind in games. When Ubisoft got destroyed for having XP bundles in a store to buy experience points, and
yeah, because that's really reflective of life, right? Buying experience. Like,
it's just I thought we'd left the pay to win element behind, which is why mobile games are still getting thrown under the bus left and right and centre because they're pay to win. And people are saying it now, but we get a console game launch, arguably the biggest console game launched every year, and they've got a pay to win element. And you're just like, just why?
If I didn't laugh, I'd cry, you know.
Yeah, that one. So that's my rant over. Cameron has got some of the lightest heart. This news piece is brilliant. Can you link it in the dump?
Yeah, it'll be in the dump. Yeah. So a fortnight playing Gran is the new face of IKEA's gaming collection.
Oh, it's peak.
It's great.
Kath Bowie, her name is. She was introduced to video games by her grandson in 2017, and she spends every evening streaming from her home on Twitch. I'll put that in the dump as well on Twitch. She hit the headlines earlier this year when she played with streamer Cypher PK and sang him her rendition of "You Canny Shove Your Granny Off a Bus." This is my best Scottish impression ever.
You can't shove your granny off a bus.
There we go.
So she's known as Grumpy Gran 1948. And like she's the new face of the, I'm gonna butcher this, Branball collection. So her entire setup is full of the Branball merchandise, and it's like I've seen them do this a couple of times with like different things. They try and go outside the box when it comes to marketing. But
I mean, an IKEA gaming collection, though, I think like that. So I've already expressed my anti-capitalist sentiment. However, I think IKEA do offer that kind of like reasonably priced furniture.
Yeah, my room is 90% IKEA.
So I think like that with catering to gamers, I think is gonna really help bridge that gap with like younger players that want their parents to buy them something really fancy and are refusing to pay like 800 quid for a chair, but like the IKEA approved gaming collection is something that they will know is good quality furniture and also decent value. So I think that's actually really, really smart and really like I think that bridges some inclusivity gaps. So I quite like it.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
showing
let's-
like older generation can still play, but apparently she streamed with Ninja in the last 6 months.
That's mad, isn't it?
I mean, would you want to? Did I say that out loud? Whoa, would you hear that?
So IKEA's version of, have any of you seen the the Herman Miller chairs? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they bought them and Logitech partnered up and released a Herman Miller like ergonomic gaming chair. It's probably not going to be the same, but it looks very similar. It's got the same mesh design. The Logitech one is like 800 quid. IKEA's one, £129.
So don't get me wrong, if I had enough disposable income where thinking about spending 800 quid on a chair was feasible, maybe I would. Maybe, right? But I don't, so I wouldn't, right?
Yeah, yeah. I can do it because of obviously it's my job. If I spend 14 hours a day, some days, no, I don't. That's an exaggeration. But I spend a lot of time on my day in my chair, so a good gaming chair was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't pay this. I was gifted a GTA Mega Chair by a friend of the stream. It wasn't even straight from the company. They had the spare in their office after they got upgraded ICU. So thank you to them because they were like, you need a better chair. Because I was having back pains. And I was like, I think it's my chair. And they were like, no shit, you sat all day, every day in an 80 quid chair. It's going to destroy your back.
Yeah.
And a chair's worth it. But it's like you've said, I like to see IKEA coming in and go, do you know what? Let's have a gaming range that's actually affordable.
Yeah. And they have like when they do displays, they have like fake games on the shelves.
Yeah.
And like, but some of them are funny. I think it was like Call of Doggy or something, and it was just a dog with a machine gun.
Nice.
So
Well,
yeah, they've got
like-
desks. They have got everything you need. You could probably, I reckon, you can make a decent setup with 400 quid, which is, with that's obviously not console and.
Yeah. That's just the
But
like
they've
setup.
hold on, they've got a gaming desk, drawer unit, and a chair in a bundle for £293.
wow. That's decent. That's legit decent.
Yeah, and it's like you said, mum and dads are gonna go, that's IKEA. They're gonna be like, that's great. Let's do it. We've just got Thomas, my little boy Taz, an X-Rocker bed that's got a gaming unit in the bottom. So it's a high sleeping like pirate cabin bed kind of thing. Desk
Nice.
underneath and a chair, and it was 480 quid. So IKEA are coming in 200 quid less than that.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I think the fact they've used the granny to advertise it as well is just amazing.
Big fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've given out their own merch as well. IKEA branded, of course.
Oh, what do you do when that email comes in?
Assume it's fake and then delete
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
and progress for the rest of your life.
you
Yeah.
do, don't you? Yeah. You go, IKEA want to work for me. Delete. Yeah,
No,
all right.
be fair. Be fair. That's not an email. That's a phone call. Someone calls you if it's
Yeah.
an email that big. Right. It's no shot. That's an email.
It's just, I think it's they have got like the more pricier range as well, but you can get their highest range desk, their highest price chair, and their highest priced drawer unit for £1,000.
And that again, like when you consider some of the associated costs from buying from other retailers, and like
Yeah.
especially when like you're online, you can't attest to the quality. Like at least in an IKEA, you can go to the show, like the
Yeah.
store showroom, and feel it and sort of slam the desk a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
For a controller
You-
for you,
yeah, like you really give it like a how you feel in it. You know, I don't know. I'm not an IKEA shill, but I think from what I know about like what IKEA do, I think
We
that's a really,
have
really
used
smart way of marketing.
IKEA for a lot of things because
Yeah.
it's that old school generation of my mum and dad were like, IKEA's really good. And it actually is. Mum and dad were like, you need new
Yeah,
furniture.
yeah.
Just go to IKEA. And it's like, actually, all right, yeah, it's not ridiculously expensive. And it does last. And we've moved like 3 or 4 times. And we've had IKEA furniture that we've taken down, put back together. And let's just say the Swiss can do flat pack.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, you know, I've bought furniture from like local furniture stores before, but like, if you don't have one of those like nearby, like within a delivery radius, you're gonna have to go obviously national.
Yeah.
And like, there aren't many better.
Yeah,
No.
before we could carry on, I just want to apologise to all the Swedes out there who were offended that Wobble said IKEA Swiss.
Oh yeah, it's Swedish, isn't
I,
it? But
I am very sorry. Not my words. Hashtag not my words.
yeah,
We
I do
love the
apologize.
Swiss as well. They do
Yeah,
great stuff.
I
Great
love their
chocolate.
flag. It's a big plus.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Big
On
fan
that,
of Shaqiri, you know.
mate, what an absolute tournament football beast.
Yeah.
Xherdan Shaqiri,
Yeah.
what a lad.
Did nothing for 2 years. International tournament
Cards
comes
for days.
along. Absolute banger. Does nothing for 2 years. International tournament comes along.
Yeah.
Absolute banger.
I had a great couple seasons with Liverpool as well. Got an assist for one of the goals against Barca, we shouldn't forget.
True.
A couple of great goals against Everton as well.
So, we are now going to hand over to Chris because, as we said,
Very special gaming news.
So Wobbles texted me and was like, right, we do gaming news segment. And I was like, lad, I intentionally try to avoid the gaming news in the present day. Like, fam, what am I going to talk about? So I'm going to plug myself. For those watching along, I showed before my Psychology of the Witcher book, Zeitgeist of Pop Culture series edited by Dr. Rachel Coet, PhD, produced by ETC Press. I've spoken about this a few times, but myself and colleague Dr. Celeste San Giorgio, legend Celeste, if you're watching, big fan, we're co-editing a volume on Final Fantasy VII. So we are currently sort of churning our way through our first drafts with our wonderful authors. All this has been released, so we've got people from like MJ Gallagher right the way through to like just people like BioRoxys, producing chapters for us, and we're really really excited about the volume. It's going to be coming out at some point in 25. We don't know exactly when, just because deadlines. We're also keeping an eye on any remake part 3 news to potentially piggyback on that. But I promise you all as an audience that if you're interested in Final Fantasy VII, you want to learn some things about it, some really cool topics like gender representation, mythology, theology, all these really sort of core interesting themes. You're going to be in for a treat, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with Celeste on it. So that's my bit of gaming news, really.
I want to discuss the book you've just had in your hand. So what does it entail? Because you've written a chapter, I believe, in that.
Yeah, so this is technically the old cover, the old print. This did have to get changed. This content is officially not endorsed by CD Projekt Red, although they know the book exists. Disclaimer. It's a series of essays that examine some of the psychological aspects from The Witcher. It starts with a chapter by Doug Cockle, the voice of Geralt from The Witcher video games. Doug's an absolute gent. Love Doug. He's been on my podcast. Very, very friendly guy. Very nice. And yeah, it's a series of essays that examine sort of like masculinity. It examines, my chapter was on ethics, so talking about how ethics are a fundamental element of the world of The Witcher. And this is available for free. You can download a PDF for free online on the ETC Press website, completely free of charge. Obviously, if it's PDF, so should be compatible with screen readers and things like this. You can, if you would like to, buy a print copy or an ebook copy as well. So very, very
Is there can we get a link to that in the dump?
I can send you one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's fine. Yeah.
Sorry, Cameron, I'm pushing more work on you, but
No, you could go to few with cyclists as well. You got like 4 or 5 to add for cyclists, but
I'm going to throw a hard flex in that this was the first volume in the series, and my chapter on ethics is now known as an exemplar chapter for other authors, for other books in the series. We've had Bluey, The Mandalorian, Stranger Things launched this week at the time of recording, so there's a whole bunch on. It got announced. It's been properly announced now. Taylor Swift has got her own volume that's coming out later this year, I believe. So it's a whole range of topics.
I was going to say Bluey and the Mandalorian.
A book on the psychology of Bluey was one thing that I wasn't expecting to come out of this podcast. I'm not going to lie.
And it's a really good volume. I believe like the creator has like seen a copy and read a bit of it, and that's incredible. And it's just about empowering people to tell their stories. We all care about these franchises so much. And as I say, mine's an exemplar chapter, flex, because I apparently convey complex information very well whilst maintaining a light-hearted and engaging tone. So, look at me.
I don't like to say it, but you are a funny guy. It's
I should go
say that again for me. Just
so we can record it. Chris, I said you were funny. Okay, let's.
You and Lee Evans, Get that on the t-shirt.
Get it on a t-shirt.
Should we do a football section? Move to the football section.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have just completed the patch notes section of this week. We're going to very briefly do oh God, what's it called, Cameron? Own goal?
Open goal
section, and discuss
5 out of 10.
just a little bit of football. Not going to be here for long because we've already spoke to Chris quite enough and taken up plenty of his time.
All the time for you guys. All the time.
Chris, you've obviously touched on the fact you're a Liverpool fan.
Mm-hmm.
We've had the return of the Champions League in the last week after another international break, and then we've had Premier League at the weekend. But I thought we'd just quickly touch on the Champions League because it's funny because Cameron can't talk about it.
You know, Wobbles, me being a Scouse, not English. I'm not a fan of internationals.
Ding, 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 ding.
You know,
what's your opinions on the king? No.
There's a reason we boo the national anthem at Wembley, fam. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. We've got the full sweep.
Yeah.
Bingo to all those playing along at home. But no, so yeah, I'm a big Liverpool fan. Really, really good result last night in Germany away at Leipzig. I also want to disclose, I want to really promote this for people that don't know. I listen to most of the games instead of watching them. Because it helps me do multitasking, but also Liverpool on their website do dedicated audio commentary with a commentator and usually a guest. So it's Phil Thompson, famous Liverpool centre back. But I genuinely want to give a shout out to Steve Hunter in case he ever hears this. He does the commentary live from the ground for home games for the blind and partially sighted attendees at the game with the headsets. So his commentary is genuinely exceptional. Like, I feel like I'm there. Like, it's so descriptive. He famously was the corner taking quickly Origi voice, which I think a lot of people online will know. But like Steve Hunter, genuinely, I'd love to meet him. I'd love to join him for commentary. That's like a genuine bucket list thing of mine. Because he's so good. He does such a phenomenal job of doing it. And like listening to it, people always look at me a bit funny. And like, you know, Wobbles, we've talked about this. Like, if radio commentary is good enough, you can see the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Steve does an excellent job of that. So I genuinely want to promote that to anyone. Check if your own clubs do them. I obviously can't test their quality, but
yeah, I know Coventry City do them. I think
Arsenal definitely has it. I know for a fact Arsenal have it. Cambridge United, my local league side, have it. A friend of mine actually helped set it up 10 years ago, which is quite cool. So it's becoming more and more common.
I knew about like in the ground when I went the game many moons ago, but like the fact that you can just listen to it online.
Yeah, I've literally just googled it on Arsenal's website, and I can't see if they offer just the commentary online.
So it's accessible. Again, Steve Hunter's commentary is genuinely 10.
Yeah. If they have to, you know, the commentator has to be really good as well. Like you said, I haven't heard him personally, but from what you've said, he sounds like a really good commentator. Like, it'd be different if you had like Michael Owen, or somebody like, oh, you know, so one of the like Jermaine Jean, you won't see him anymore. You know, like one of them. But if they're really good at commentating, there's commentators out there that are like a level above, and you want to listen to them and not be idiots.
For me, Steve Hunter, unsung hero. Like, for me.
No, it's been a good week for Arsenal. I say that sarcastic as hell. We've got injury problems. We've got red card
discipline problems.
Yeah, getting sent off quicker than me on a pro clubs game. It's just an ongoing battle with ourselves at the minute. And then like Tuesday night, come up against quite a good Shakhtar Donetsk side, and 1-0. It wasn't comfortable, but it was a 1-0 win. Get a penalty in the 75th minute, and it's just a terrible penalty. And you just like, come right, we make it hard for ourselves at the moment.
We have a really nice triangle at the minute as well, because obviously Liverpool played Cameron's team last weekend. We've had Champions League, and obviously our two teams do battle this weekend.
Oh yeah, we do, don't we? And it worked perfectly for So
fate.
There's no Saliba against the prime Liverpool side. It was interesting, but Arteta came out and just said, didn't he? You'll see on Sunday. I think he's going to throw an absolute. He's going to play like 3 at the back or something, and just do something we've not done all season.
And that will go well.
Yeah. So Chelsea are playing Panathinaikos tonight as recorded. Well, I say tonight, 5:45.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, like I've said on the podcast before, we're one of the we should be winning that. Like, not being cocky, nothing, but we're one of the best team. Well, we're probably
You're
the best team in it.
There's you or Fiorentina. Is it Fiorentina, isn't it?
I'd say Fiorentina and Real Betis are the only other teams that
Yeah.
I'd say could really.
And you won't get anyone dropped down now, will you? They don't do the drop down anymore.
No.
So yeah, you should be winning that.
So yeah, that'll be. It's a trophy. Like, I'm not going to complain. We've had a tough year or two since old Roman left. But
It's
be nice to win the Conference League. Be the first team ever to win all three, I think.
Cameron, I'd love your perspective on some of the Sanchez penalty incident from the game at Anfield as a Chelsea fan.
Don't even get me started on the fact they didn't send off to what his name is. How 24 hours?
Yeah.
24 hours
Yeah, but to be
earlier.
fair, he was close to the halfway line.
Shut up. 24 hours earlier, Saliba gets sent for that.
Yeah, well.
So if he doesn't drag him down, you're telling me the other lad catches up to Diego Jota at full pelt? I think not, fam.
Love you, really, Cam. It's just you're not gonna win this argument because I was seething about that. Because I actually do think the Saliba's a red card.
Oh yeah, like it just shows the referees, innit?
Yeah.
I'm just happy we didn't have Anthony Taylor.
Oh, he's another great Premier League referee.
Yeah.
The standard in the Premier League is the highest.
Yeah, like, to be fair, we weren't expecting anything from the game, but I thought we played all right.
What was the end score? 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Chelsea look good. I'm not going to deny it. They've got a lot better quite quickly.
Yeah. Who knew hiring a manager from the Championship could work out? Yeah, so Panathinaikos tonight, I think we should win. Also, shout out to the new Saints as well, who are playing their first home game.
Yeah.
But they're not actually at home, they're in Shrewsbury.
Nice.
Isn't it because their pitch? Is it the pitch quality?
Yeah, it's probably the pitch already on the size of the stadium because it's only like a couple hundred, I think.
It's mad. Could you imagine being one of them players? Because you're going to be televised, aren't you?
Yeah, like
And they've gone from what do you reckon their wages are a week at that level?
100.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it?
It's not much, I don't reckon. They all got proper jobs, like like electricians and carpenters.
Day
jobs. Day jobs.
Day jobs, and then they're going to be playing. Who have they got?
To be fair, they give Fiorentina a game. They only lost 2-0.
It's mad, isn't it?
That was like a win to them.
Do you think it's just them going, right, we're going to just park the bus and not concede here? Or do you reckon you go, right, we're going to play some football and just try and get 3 points?
I reckon they'll play. I reckon against the smaller teams. I say smaller. The lower teams in the group, and I reckon they'll give them a game. But Fiorentina, it took to the second half. I think Moise Keane had to score like a penalty.
Could you imagine that, though? You've got you work in an office Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you've got to write to your boss going, I need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off next week. Why? Because I'm going to Bulgaria to play there.
Yeah,
I'm going to Bulgaria to play a football team you've never heard of.
Yeah,
and we've got to get a commercial flight.
Yeah, that's what I was like as well. My other thing was, how are they doing it? Because do they get funding? Because they obviously haven't got as a club the funding to get everyone.
They get money for each game, so that'll probably sort them out for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, because obviously there's prize money and obviously like gate receipts and all that, but I do wonder if there isn't like some type of subsidiary from the competition to help. Like,
if they're a club that's never travelled across Europe before, which I'm guessing they're not, or they haven't, which they haven't, it's not going to be cheap. You also have to have you have to meet specific kit requirements. You've got to meet specific staff requirements. You've got to have you legally have to have fully trained doctors. Everything.
Yeah.
It's going to change the dynamic of the whole club, isn't it?
Yeah. For the better, hopefully.
Yeah, it's nice to see, and it's just
all the other Welsh teams in the English League are trying to get back in the Welsh Cup now, so they can. Have a chance
of course they are. Wrexham have already tried it, haven't they?
Yeah, so,
that's the rumours that Wrexham are like.
I'd be interested because they'd probably have a better chance because obviously they got better players and get the coefficient up, and then you might see 2 teams in the Conference League, one in the Europa League in a couple of years. But yeah.
Do you think if they play in the Premier League though, or not the Premier League, but the English League system, that they should be allowed to do the Welsh Cup?
If they don't do the English Cup, I think, yeah. But what's the chances of them winning the English Cup, the Elite Cup, or the Johnson's Paint Trophy, Papa John's Pizza Trophy, whatever it's bloody called now?
I'd like a pizza trophy.
The Papa John's Milk Trophy, some stupid name like that.
Should we?
But,
We are on.
Let's do a 5-minute section, guys. 15 minutes later.
Yeah, it's been 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Right, we will call it there, and we will finish up and move over to the part of the show where Chris will probably come into his own and become the host for Guess This Mess. Catch you shortly, guys. Recording now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this hijacked, taken over, put it bluntly segment for Guess This. In this episode, hot mess, because I'm your boy hosting it. So we're going to be playing very quickly. I'm going to describe 3 of my favorite games. 3, right?
Yep.
To
Yeah.
your 2 wonderful hosts. I'm going to attempt to do this very poorly and see if they can guess the game. So let's just get stuck into it. I've literally got like my Steam favorites open to help me work it out. So our first game, do you want me to give you like some general sort of demo information just for you to get like a rough ballpark, or are we just going in completely blind? If you
Go in completely blind to start
Yeah.
with, and then we'll ask if neither of us
yeah,
can get
if
it.
we need clues, yeah.
We'll
All
ask
right,
for clues.
okay. All right. Potions, brooms, sexy NB MCs.
Banjo-Kazooie?
Nope.
That's a sexy witch in that.
I've just got a. No,
He does this every day. He goes, I just got this idea. Is it this? And then he gets it.
no, I haven't.
I've publicly spoken about this game previously. So like yeah, I know you'll have seen my tweets about it.
Hogwarts Legacy?
Nope. They're absolutely trash now. I don't play black mold games, fam. Not in this chat. Well, wave that rainbow Mathew flag. Sorry, I just got very impassioned about that.
Yeah.
And I haven't got a clue. I'm going to throw that one straight out there.
All right, let's give a bit more. You both farm, you capture creatures, and you also draw cards.
I've seen someone play this game, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm pretty certain.
Crossing.
Pretty certain.
Put him on Google. He's on Google.
You can see my hands.
You're asking ChatGPT. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, hey Siri, what game can you?
Can we have the description again? One last time.
Okay, so potions, brooms, and a cute little. I'll even throw a white-haired NB main character.
No, I know the name of it. I know the game, but I don't know the name of it. I'm out. I know the game, but I don't know the name of it.
All right, let's do some more clues then. All right, what's the opposite of the sun? As in the thing in the sky.
Harvest Moon.
Close.
It's not Harvest
Close,
Moon.
right.
I know the name. I'm
Right
not going to
track.
get it because I've forgotten the name.
No, go on. I'll concede as well.
All right, Moonstone Island. That's my game of the year from last year.
Yeah.
A rogue-like deck building, creature capturing, farming sim. You play a wonderful white-haired NB main character. You can date people. It's one of the best games ever. We'll recommend it. It's a brilliant indie game. Thanks again to Raw Fury for the creator key. Big fan. Thanks, guys. Available on PC and Switch.
Sorry, got a cough.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yes, mate.
Okay. The most chaotic dynamic duo you've ever experienced in a world that makes no sense but is wonderfully dystopian.
It
It's
takes it.
Elysium.
Oh, straight out of traps, Cameron. GG.
Oh, he's done me.
GG.
Yes.
All right, nice. I thought that was maybe too accurate?
I could not get into it. I don't know what it was. I tried like 4 different times. I just can't get into it.
Again, for me, one of the best games I've ever played. One of the best written games, and obviously the Final Cut edition being so accessible with its entirely narrated text.
Yeah. So. I just couldn't get. It's weird. It's like I like the premise of the game and the style. I don't know. Just playing it, I just couldn't really get into it.
Fair dues. I mean, how did you get it straight away? Like, was I just being too obvious? I thought that was loosely vague.
No, I just When you said dystopian, that's when I got it.
Okay, fair. Because I was going to be, aren't most video game worlds dystopian? That's
Yeah,
not like
true.
a far reach.
I try and play all positive ones.
Fair. Okay. All of these. So I made sure all of these were games that I haven't actually colloquially mentioned, like throughout the episode, just for absolute transparency.
Yeah, we had that last
We had
week.
that last week. Someone mentioned a game, and then we both sat there, and neither of us got it. We were like, "You've mentioned it about 4 times in the pod as well, and we still didn't get it." Brilliant, well done, guys.
Okay, so this one is whatchamacallit? It's a ragtag adventure that involves some of my favorite activities, including mining. And you are, genuinely in charge of just, being focused on doing your work.
Minecraft.
I'm meant to be describing this poorly. That's the whole point.
Mining.
But yeah, I think the mining really does give you quite a small Venn diagram to operate within.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh my god, he's so good. GG.
Trying to think of the name. GG's, well done, Cameron. You've taken the lead again there, haven't you?
Well, two no. It's 9-6 to the guess, 7 to you.
Mm-hmm.
Good week for me.
Yeah,
It's
GG's.
Are they free? Right, just you've said obviously they're 3 of your favourite games. Are they like your top 3 games? Because you've mentioned a couple in the pod that you said you didn't want to kind of discuss because you've obviously already mentioned.
I mean,
the game.
so like, I couldn't possibly give them like an arbitrary kind of ranking thing. I think I could tell you some of my favorites, but I mean, like Donkey Kong Country is one. Famously, I did an entire playthrough of every Donkey Kong Country game on stream. You can watch me in 4 hours beat the original whilst wearing a banana suit.
I forgot you wore the banana suit.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I'm glad you forgot. But no, Moonstone Island for me, one of the games of the year for last year. Just a wonderful, wonderful indie game. I kind of struggle to get into farming sims. I usually get a bit overwhelmed, whereas the gameplay loop was really, really satisfying for this one. Disco Elysium, it's one of the best written games I think I've ever played. I love the story. I think again, its mental health representations were really good. The choice is great. You also are effectively rolling dice, which appeals to my D&D sensibilities. And Deep Rock Galactic, I think, was that one of the first games I had where I really just enjoyed the sort of straightforwardness of the gameplay loop and just really enjoy mining through rock to get what I need and then depositing it and then occasionally shooting things in the face.
Like, see, there's not too many like games. I was thinking Mines of Moria, but
so the mining was like meant to be like a little bit of like a
I just got. I'm really
you could do that in farming sims.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at remembering game names.
But like a lot of people play it like multiplayer, and I've spent way more on it single player because like I just enjoy, and I'm talking like over 100 hours in it, and like it's endless. So I only stopped playing because I was like, I need to play other games for just like everyone's benefit.
Yeah,
but like truly, it's a great game. Would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, I got it on PS Plus when I think it dropped on PS Plus, so I've got it. I don't know if Wobbles has got it.
No, I haven't.
Could be a to put it bluntly stream maybe.
We could do that. Could work.
It's really good.
So
yeah, because some people answer that.
I think that's a great time to wrap up today's episode. Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. So you are one of the recognisable faces inside the accessibility space. Everyone knows you.
And that's Steve Saylor.
That's for good reasons, not just because you look a little bit like Steve Saylor, mate. You know you're a lot more than the budget Steve Saylor.
Yeah.
I think everyone you speak to has got a lot of time for you and just thinks you're a all-round top guy. And to end the episode, we always like to ask our guests to do their best impression of Gordon Ramsay. So at the end of every Gordon Ramsay bit, he'll do the done. So I'm going to say goodbye. Cameron will say goodbye. Then if you could say goodbye and give us your best done, that would be incredible. So once again, thank you for joining us on episode 12 of To Put It Bluntly. Please go and give Chris a follow on his socials.
All the dump will be in the links.
All the dump will be in the links.
Translate that.
So I've been the Wobbly Gamer.
I've been Cameron Keywood.
And I've been Christopher Leech. Thanks both for having me on. Really enjoyed it. I've got a lot of time for you guys as well. But otherwise, we're done.
To put it bluntly,